Good evening. It's 8 o'clock. The top headlines tonight.
Namaste.
Namaste as the first meeting of top leaders of the 4 Quad countries begins. The first virtual meet between President Joe Biden of the United States and Prime Minister Modi. Joe Biden says, "Great to see you, Prime Minister Modi." India, US, Australia, Japan leaders attending. Prime Minister Modi talks of shared democratic values, a strong message going out to China as well with this meeting. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee is out of hospital. She's brought out in a wheelchair. Doctors say the Chief Minister's repeated request to be discharged, even though we wanted her to wait for 48 hours. Meanwhile, arch rival Suvendu Adhikari files nomination from Nandigram. Also in Delhi, TMC and BJP delegations both meet the Election Commission. India cases are up by 250% in the last 4 weeks, a worrying statistic there. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization says AstraZeneca's vaccine, which is Covishield in India, is safe. This as the Thailand Prime Minister postpones his AstraZeneca shot. No response from India yet on blood clot fears associated with AstraZeneca. And now a Tihar connection to the Ambani explosives mystery after link apparently between an Indian Mujahideen terrorist currently in jail. Actor politician Kamal Haasan's electoral debut in this assembly election. He will contest from Coimbatore South. Meanwhile, DMK chief Stalin's son is also contesting for the first time. Our lead story tonight, a crucial meeting, the first meeting of the leaders of the Quad countries, the 4 countries which are India, the United States, Japan and Australia, is currently on. Though on the agenda is climate change, joint vaccine production. What is also the focus, though it's not being said explicitly, is a strong message to China. This was clear with Prime Minister Modi's remarks, where he said this is a force for global good and pointed out that all the countries in this Quad meet have shared democratic values. Again, the message there to China. Also, United States President Joe Biden said that this meeting will look at reinforcing international law in the Indo-Pacific.
And we're launching an ambitious new joint partnership that is going to boost vaccine manufacturing and for the global benefit and strengthen vaccinations to benefit the entire Indo-Pacific. We're establishing a new mechanism to enhance our cooperation and raise our mutual ambitions as we address accelerating climate change. And we're renewing our commitment to ensure that our region is governed by international law, committed to upholding universal values and free from coercion. We've got a big agenda ahead of us, gentlemen, as you well know, but I'm optimistic about our prospects. The Quad is going to be a vital arena for cooperation in the Indo-Pacific, and I look forward to working closely with all of you in the coming years. And now, Prime Minister Modi, I'm kicking it over to you. And again, it's great to see you.
It is good to be among the friends. I thank President Biden for this initiative. Excellencies, we are united by our democratic values and our commitment to a free, open and inclusive Indo-Pacific. Our agenda today, covering areas like vaccines, climate change, and emerging technologies, make the Quad a force for global good.
Prime Minister Modi's first virtual meet with the new US President Joe Biden.
Namaste. Good morning.
Along with Australian PM Scott Morrison and Japan's PM Suga, for the first leader-level meeting of the Quad group of nations. The Prime Minister tweeted ahead of the meeting saying, "The summit will provide an opportunity to discuss a wide range of regional and global issues of shared interest." India's Foreign Ministry added the summit will focus on a free, open and inclusive Indo-Pacific region as well as on ensuring affordable and safe vaccine against coronavirus. Reuters today reported that the agreements will focus particularly on Indian vaccine manufacturers for American pharma giants Novavax Inc. and Johnson & Johnson. The virtual summit is also seen as part of a larger diplomatic effort to balance China's growing expansionist attempts. The US defense secretary is visiting India along with Japan and South Korea amid the ongoing disengagement process between Indian and Chinese troops at the Pangong Tso in Ladakh. A top US commander has told lawmakers at a congressional hearing this week that China had still not withdrawn from several forward positions along the line of control. Days ahead of the Quad meet, Japanese PM Suga also had a 40-minute conversation with Prime Minister Modi. The Japanese PM shared concerns over China's attempt to change the status quo in the East and South China Seas. As Australia's Prime Minister also said there was no reason for China to object to the leaders' meeting. NDTV Bureau Report.
That's our lead story, but lots of news coming out of West Bengal as well. Monadeepa, of course, tracking it all as Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee was discharged from hospital in a wheelchair. So there it is, Mamata Banerjee. Will these visuals, well, actually make a political impact? Doctors said today that the Chief Minister has been discharged because of her request. They would have liked to keep her there for 48 hours for actual further observation, but she insisted on being discharged.
The hematoma which was there has diminished considerably in size and the condition of the ankle shows marked sign of improvement. The medical board, after looking into her general and local wound condition, decided in favor of keeping her for another 48 hours for observation, but due to her repeated request, decided to discharge with appropriate advices and instructions. She has been advised to review after 7 days. That is right at this moment.
So over to Monadeepa. Monadeepa, from Nandigram to Kolkata hospital, what a hectic time it is in West Bengal politics. And of course, those visuals we're seeing there, there's a political messaging happening as well from both sides.
Yes, indeed. You know, I wouldn't have missed these pictures for the world because they are defining pictures. Certainly for Mamata Banerjee, she'll be putting them in her scrapbook for sure, along with her 1990 August 16 photo when she was hit brutally on the head by CPM miscreants. And they're also perhaps defining pictures for the Bengal elections, really. Mamata Banerjee, 2 days after she was injured at Nandigram, a constituency she has chosen to fight in, 2 days after that, she is leaving the hospital in a wheelchair. What is more, remember, just yesterday in her video message, she had said that she will return to campaigning as soon as possible, and she might even campaign sitting on a wheelchair. Can you imagine the impact of that? And this is what the BJP has to contend against. They know it, which is why we had a high power, high voltage, nomination campaign by Shubhendu Adhikari, accompanied by Smriti Irani, Dharmendra Pradhan. I was there, and what a show it was as well. Here is an earlier report that I have just filed. Drums and dancers on the streets of Haldia, paving the way for Shubhendu Adhikari heading to file his nomination for Nandigram, the hottest seat in the Bengal polls, where he is locking horns with former boss Mamata Banerjee. Shubhendu was Nandigram MLA in 2016 for the Trinamool. He has now changed colours. No comments on his rival or her controversial injury. Shubhendu claimed victory would be his. Trinamool MPs went to Delhi and met the EC, demanding a probe into the Nandigram incident that sent Mamata Banerjee to hospital. It suspects a plot, signalled, they alleged, by the Prime Minister himself, mocking Mamata Banerjee for trying to ride a two-wheeler recently and saying, "What if Didi falls off the scooty in Nandigram?"
There is a nexus between the incident in which Mamata Banerjee was hurt with the tweets and messages from Dilip Ghosh, BJP president, from here, Dilip Ghosh said this, Bibi Nandigram mein gir rahi hai.
BJP too wants EC to probe the Nandigram incident. Many leaders of the party have questioned Mamata Banerjee's charge that she was attacked by 4 or 5 people that day with the intent to hurt and the police was missing.
वीडियो पब्लिक में आना चाहिए, पब्लिक डोमेन में आना चाहिए ताकि लोग सच जान सके.
Meanwhile, Mamata Banerjee has said she will begin campaigning soon, even if she has to do it from a wheelchair.
A fight that could determine a lot. Imagine this, and then imagine Mamata Banerjee campaigning in a wheelchair. And you know what the stakes are for the bitter rivals for Bengal. With G.D. Shankar, Mamata Banerjee, NDTV.
Well, let's go across now to other news, and that, of course, is the latest on what's happening with COVID. As we've been pointing out, and I think Rishika has the details, the pandemic is far from over. Rishika.
Well, absolutely. The pandemic is far from over, and we've been reporting on the numbers. 23,285 cases in the last 24 hours. But let me put this number in context for you. Look at the curve of daily new cases in 2021 in India. This bell-shaped curve is worrying. When you look at the period of end January and you look at the period of mid-February, there was a decline in COVID-19 cases. Compare this to March, where you can see that there is an upward trajectory of COVID-19 cases. So this is to put in context the daily numbers that we've been reporting on. Now, India in the last 4 weeks has reported a spike of 250%. This is extremely worrying. Look at where India's COVID numbers were 4 weeks ago, where we were reporting 4 weeks ago 9,309 cases on a daily basis, as opposed to today, where we're reporting over 23,000 cases. So this is just to give you some perspective on the rise, the gradual rise in COVID-19 cases. Once again, a look at the top 5 states that are contributing to this rise. Maharashtra continues to remain the worst affected, and in fact we just moments ago have an update from the ministry. This number of 14,300 is actually now over 15k cases in the last 24 hours. So today Maharashtra has seen over 15k cases. Kerala, Punjab, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu continue to remain causes of worry. Also Madhya Pradesh and Delhi, which are reporting a spike in COVID-19 numbers. Now this is the other worrying story. There have been less than 5 lakh vaccinations in the last 24 hours. Look at this dip right here in terms of vaccinations. We were vaccinating 20 lakh people at this juncture and less than 5 lakh yesterday. However, the health ministry claims that this is also because of the festival of Mahashivratri. A quick update as far as vaccines are concerned. Well, the target. Now, the government has aimed 30 crore vaccinations by July 2021. To achieve this target, we need to be vaccinating, yes, 50 lakh people on a daily basis. Our 7-day average currently is at 11.6 lakhs. So at this rate, we are missing the vaccine target. More news for vaccines, and I'll wrap this quickly. 4 countries have suspended the use of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine fearing blood clots. The WHO has clarified, saying there is no need for concern.
Thanks so much, Rishika. So important WHO clarification, but those vaccination targets and the rise in cases, though of course Maharashtra's over 50% of it, is something India needs to watch out for. Well, let's just look at more numbers. Inflation is up. It's up at 5.03%. Now, this is because of higher food and fuel prices. Government data, which was released today, showed this was higher than a recent inflation thing, which estimated that it was about 4.83% in January. Reuters had said that that would be the climb from January's 4.06%, but it's actually gone up more than what the Reuters estimate was. And this other number, which is not a good number to combine, the industrial production contracted. It's actually down. It's down 1.6% in January from a year earlier. This also after there was a positive IP in the last data released, and now it's gone to negative numbers again. But here's someone whom inflation is not impacting. Well, Indian business tycoon Gautam Adani has added more billions to his wealth than anyone else in the world in the first 3 months of this year. This is on the back of investor excitement around his ports to power plants conglomerate, reported by Bloomberg. in their Bloomberg Billionaires Index. The net worth, Bloomberg says, of Adani, a first-generation entrepreneur, has jumped $16.2 billion in 2021 to $50 billion, according to the Bloomberg Billionaires Index. Well, moving to news of another billionaire, and this isn't actually about him, but the case involving the mystery about an SUV found outside his house with explosives in it. Is there now a connection to a terrorist in Tihar jail?
The mystery around the Mukesh Ambani security scare is deepening. Now sources have revealed a link to the Tihar jail in Delhi. A Telegram channel used to claim responsibility for placing an explosives-laden SUV near industrialist Mukesh Ambani's home in Mumbai was created from inside a barrack in Delhi's Tihar jail, where an Indian Mujahideen terrorist is being kept, police sources have told NDTV. This was revealed following a raid by a special team of the Delhi police at a barrack housing Tehseen Akhtar. Cops found a mobile phone used to create the Telegram channel during the raid. Tehseen Akhtar was arrested following the 2014 serial blasts in Patna targeting Narendra Modi's rally. He is also linked to the serial blasts in Hyderabad and Bodh Gaya. Meanwhile, the controversial cop probing the death of Hiren Mansukh, the owner of the car found near Mukesh Ambani's home, has been transferred from the crime investigation unit. On Thursday, the ATS recreated the death scene at the spot where the body was found. ATS threw a dummy body in the creek. The ATS suspects that Mansukh was killed elsewhere, his body thrown in the sea to erase evidence. ATS also recorded statements of local fishermen. Meanwhile, NIA, which is also probing the case, visited the areas around Hiren Mansukh's home to check the CCTVs in the area. With Sunil Singh in Mumbai and Mukesh Singh in Delhi, Rohit Wellington for NDTV.
Well, a look at some other news. Actor-politician Kamal Haasan's electoral debut is now announced. Will it be a blockbuster? He's contesting from Coimbatore South. Also, DMK chief Stalin's son will also be contesting for the first time. It's all in the family for the DMK.
Actor-turned-politician Makkal Needi Mayam chief Kamal Haasan has decided to contest from AIADMK bastion Coimbatore South. The veteran actor will not directly challenge either the AIADMK nor the DMK in his debut attempt to enter the Tamil Nadu Assembly. Instead, he will be facing candidates from the national parties, BJP and Congress, and M&M hopes that will work to Kamal's advantage.
தமிழகமே எனக்கு பிடித்தது என்றாலும் பொங்கு செழித்தால் எங்கும் செழிக்கும் என்பது பழமொழி. ஆனால் அந்த கொங்கு ஊழல் கோட்டையாக மாறியிருப்பது சோகம்தான். அதை மாற்றி அமைக்கும் பொருட்டு அங்கே செல்ல இருக்கிறேன்.
M&M had polled 11% votes here in 2019. This is also the home turf of party Vice President Mahendran. But the constituency has been an AIADMK stronghold, with the ruling party candidate winning it the last two times in 2011 and 2016. DMK chief M.K. Stalin would fight once again from Chennai's Kolattur, from where he won in 2011 and 2016. His son Udayanidhi hopes to make his electoral debut from Chennai's Chepak Thiruvallikeni, an area from where his grandfather Karunanidhi has won 3 times.
Are you in a sense preparing him to take over the leadership of the party?
அதை எப்படி இப்போ சொல்ல முடியும்? அவருடைய திறமையை பொறுத்து இருக்கு, அவருடைய இதை பொறுத்து இருக்கு.
AMMK chief TTV Dinakaran, who will contest from Kovilpatti, kick-started his campaign in Chennai today with ally MIM chief Asaduddin Owaisi. It's the first election after the death of iconic Jayalalitha and Karunanidhi, and Kamal Haasan hopes Tamil Nadu will give his party a chance to rule. Some claim Kamal Haasan may actually split votes and indirectly help the AIADMK BJP alliance, even as the DMK hopes for a repeat of its 2019 sweep and the ruling AIADMK working for a third term. In Chennai with Suresh, Sam Daniel, for NDTV.